I think you come here for the unvarnished truth, right? Hopefully some other reasons like entertainment and fun. Plenty of that to go around here in the Nutnfancy project. But at its foundation, everything I do here is based on truth. Now, I'm imperfect at this. I do the best I can. With the time I have available, the resources I have available, I try to define truth as best as I can get to it in each video. Whether it's a gear review like this one, lifestyle video, political video, I do the best I can in truth. That survives a test of time. Through all the years, it survives. It survives the critics. Some guys may not like it, but it is what it is, and the truth will set you free. Okay, so with that in mind, here's your intro to this review on the Savage rifles. I've been in the shooting world, the tactical world, for many years. You guys know that. Long before the Nutnfancy project, I've done lots of shooting, and I got to be honest with you. A lot of the stuff I see in the shooting world, the so-called tactical community, is just foolishness. It's just out and out stupidity. I mean, I open these magazines, I look at it and I go, that is so stupid. The advertisements, the articles, the reviews I see, there's so much hype and crap and misinformation. It's amazing that people are able to navigate it. That's a huge impetus, by the way, of why I started the Nutnfancy project. So we're going to talk about tactical bolt-action rifles in this review, obviously. And this is where I'm going with this. Is that talking about this stupidity, this tactical elitism in this tactical world, I never get how some guys spend their money, better said, waste their money on this style of rifle. For instance, I know people, personally, friends of mine, who have gone out and spent $4,000, $5,000 on a tactical bolt-action rifle in a standard caliber. Now, standard caliber is mostly, to me, a .308 Winchester, 7.62x51, or 300 Win Mag. Maybe 223, but to me, I don't waste my time in that chambering. Not in a tactical application philosophy of use, right? You've seen some of these guys on camera, but yes, $5,000 on a freaking .308 chambering tactical bolt-action rifle. To me, that is asinine. There, I said it. I feel so much better. It's just stupid. Now, if you've been following TMP for a long time, you know I have a thing called first kind of cool, second kind of cool. Second kind of cool is we all spend our money the way we spend it. Sometimes it's hard to explain why we do it. It just turns us on. We like it. For instance, that .308 rifle the dude bought, $5,000. He loved it. I just don't get it. And the reason I don't get it is because you have rifles like this. The Savage 10 series. Welcome to the Nutnfancy thorough tabletop review. I'll go as quick as I can, by the way. Why do you need to spend $5,000? And maybe I'm exaggerating, but let's just say it's $3,000 on a rifle, when these shoot so well, so reliably, for under $1,000. Maybe not this model, but that one's under $1,000. Well under $1,000. Second kind of cool, hey, nothing, it just turns me on, I love it. Okay, I get it. If you're talking about a more eclectic chambering, one that's more capable and long range, harder hitting, like a 338 Lapua, 50 BMG, then I think you can make the case for spending more money, because the industry has kind of sold us on that. They're like, hey, when these chamberings just cost us so much more to make, I don't really buy that, by the way. I think they're just able to charge that much, and they do. To be honest, there's more truth for you. I mean, it's the same barrel, action, slightly larger. Why do you need to charge $5,000 for that rifle? Well, because people will pay it. Aha! That's the truth. Because people will pay it. That's why you charge that much. Yeah. I think, yeah, that wall will come crumbling down as years go on. Is some company gets smart and they go, you know what, we're going to make a really sweet 338 Lapua for $1,000. I don't get it. I don't accept it. And yet, dude will come up to me and goes, hey man, I'm going to spend this money on this rifle. What do you think? I say it's stupid. You still need to do this with your tactical carbine. You still need this in LBE. You still need this in pistol. He goes, yeah, you're right. Bing. He goes out and spins it. I just don't get it. It's ridiculous, man. So what we're going to look at in this tabletop review is how to achieve what I think is very solid tactical bolt action performance for around $1,000. and multiple chamberings. Again, the standard ones will be 223, 308, 300 Win Mag. And this review will serve as a review for the entire 10 series of Savage rifles. We're going to concentrate mostly on the 10FP, this one. It's been in the Nutnfancy project for freaking, I don't know, 4 years, since 2009. It is my personal rifle currently, subject to sell always. It is model number, once upon a time, 01063. These SKUs and model numbers are subject to change. Savage and all companies are always changing them, so it's a snapshot in time. The one that it's currently being made, like it, is going to be, I think, FP model number 19127. It's very similar to that one. And then we're going to talk about this sweet rifle. It is cool. Has some upsides and downsides, which, again, part of the truth concept here in TNP, we're going to talk about. This is 10 FCP-SR. By the way, I get confused with these designations all the time. I may screw them up. Model number 19480. A magazine-fed 10-shot tactical bolt-action rifle. Other ones I don't have on the table, but they have the same exact action as these. Are the 10 FCP-HS Precision 300 Winchester mag. That model number is 19627. The 308 version of that is 18139. That's a heavy gun, by the way, and we'll talk about weight here in a second. The 10 FCP Macmillan is 24-inch barrel, 4-round external magazine, detachable mag, A5 style Macmillan, around 10 pounds naked, I think. And then another sweet one that competes with the Model 700 AAC, of which I've spent a lot of airtime on, by the way, is the 10 Precision Carbine by Savage, Model 19626 in 308. That's just 8 pounds with a 20-inch threaded barrel. Sweet gun. Sweet gun. The only way they make it better, I'll say it now, is putting a detachable magazine on it. There you go. So there's some ones that I don't have on the table, but I've shot both of these extensively. This is PFI dudes on loan to the project, and I have a lot of data to share with you. It's mostly outstanding. Speaking of the value formula, let's jump into philosophy of use, I guess. I'm going to make it short and sweet because we've talked about it so much. First, let me be consistent in my logic base by saying the following. For most serious applications, that is, warfighting applications, I would prefer a sapper in 308 chambering. Semi-automatic precision rifle, I've reviewed several which I highly recommend, or recommended and recommend. Yeah, I think a semi-auto is better. You might live in a location where they are illegal and you'll have to go with a bolt-action rifle. Bolt guns have their place for sure. I'm more and more apt to think their place is for higher calibers, like the 300 Win Mag on up, for me. That being said, both of these guns would make a great team rifle if you're FCLE. For Constitution law enforcement, dude. Out of box, they're going to, as you will see, shoot under 1 MOA. Ergonomically squared away. You don't have to do much on it except put glass on it.
Shooting around it.
That's department friendly, says me. It's going to save you money. Your armor will really love it. And from what I can see, they're going to take some rounds before they'll break on you. It's just my data point, subject to change. How about competition rifle? By the way, I think PFI Dude has this set up for his competitions he shoots. I think he shoots with Boy Scouts. Actually, it's Girl Scouts of America centerfire competition. I just made that up. No, it is competition rifle. If that's what you want to do, long range competition, which I think is a riot, the 10 series, take your pick, will work. Again, this is the 10 FCP-SR. The Macmillan versions or the HS Precision ones would work well. Along with that, if you really want to go with a 110 BA by Savage, you could do that. That's that 300 Winchester Magnum weighing a freaking 16 pounds, by the way. Extremely gaudy looking. I hate its looks. Looks very crude, feels crude. Haven't shot them, I've handled them a lot, and it has an MSRP of $2,500. That's a lot. But, great competition rifle. When we talk about competition, we want a heavy, heavy gun. We're not really carrying it anywhere except to our competition site. And therefore, SAWC, we're talking philosophy of use here, doesn't play that much. Makes sense? However, if you are going to be a self-contained combat system of whatever sort, irresponsible civilian, sheepdog, FCLE, military dude, you need to look at weight, which I want to hit pretty hard here in just a little bit. Long range recreation. A lot of guys aren't competing officially, but they just like shooting long range. It turns them on. They like schwacking steel at 500 yards and beyond, of which we've done plenty of with both these guns. With, by the way, 308 ball. 147, 150 grain is what we shot, and they worked well. In fact, I posted a video back in 2012 called Operation Red Skies 10 FCP, or 10 FP, in August 2012 with this rifle. And we showed you just that. Sunflower shoot way back in 2010. This rifle was shooting. We showed you a 500-yard shoot with ball ammo with that very gun. So along the way, I've been giving you snippets of what the guns are capable of doing. How about hunting philosophy of use? No, go with something lighter, dude. I mean, these are way too heavy to be carrying around over hill and dale. Now, if you're a bubba hunting out of your truck, first, shame on you. You should be a man. Sorry, you should. Get out and hunt on foot. Backpack in. Get out of the freaking truck. Yeah, that's how I raised hunting by my dad. And then if you want to carry a 12-pound 308, I say rock on. I think you'd be better served, if we're talking about Savage, with a Savage Axis. Previously reviewed, highly recommended in the Nutnfancy project. Great rifle. That's philosophy of use. Hope you liked it. Innovation, design, weight, balance, and feel. Let's start with weight. To me, if you have a 308 tactical bolt-action rifle, and that word tactical means that you may use it to defend your life, which is a serious social purpose, right? If it weighs over, let's say, my limit is 11 pounds, you need to rethink something. We're not talking competition here. Okay, we already briefly mentioned that. We're talking that you may have to carry the gun into position. I am always flabbergasted when I meet these tactical elitists recommending, bragging about, posting pictures on their forums of all their awesome 14-pound 308 battle rifles. Yeah, it's a little heavy, they say, but man, can it shoot. I say to myself, and I'm talking through the years, dating way back like 10 years ago when I used to be in forums and stuff, I was like, dude, I mean, really? A 308 gun weighing that much? You know, the dude's a range queen. That's all he's doing. He's going to the range. He's not hiking. He's not doing anything, where he actually has to have a system of which that gun will be a part of. If he did, then he would realize very quickly, this gun is damn ridiculous. Now, if you're talking 300 Win Mag, 338 Lapua, 50 BMG, very capable cartridges, then I think the platform's going to have to be heavier in most situations. And it makes a lot of sense because they're going to recoil more, blast. You want a heavier one. So a 338 Lapua weighing 15 pounds, to me, is more acceptable. You follow? That being said, let's talk about the weights, which are very representative across the entire Savage 10 FP series. This one naked, and that's going for the current model of this one, is about 8.5 pounds, which is outstanding given the thickness of the barrel, which we'll look at here in a little bit. It's a freaking artillery barrel, both of these guns. So 8 pounds, or 8.5 pounds, that's decent. As I have it outfitted with a Bushnell, by the way, 6.5 by 20, rings, bases, and slings, full up weight is only 10 pounds, 6 ounces. Mission accomplished with that gun. Okay, that's just enough weight where we get the stability. It's easy to shoot. It's smooth. It's very low recoiling, especially with that amazing recoil pad Savage puts on. Just a pussycat to shoot. Would 9 pounds excite me more? Yeah, probably, but I can't do it with the barrel they have on that. That's just a thick barrel. And I've reviewed a lot of bolt guns which come under that weight. Well, not a lot, a few that come under that weight that shoot almost as good as these do. So many good guns to choose from. This one, however, is a freaking artillery piece. I kid PFI dude, he needs to put like wheels on it and wheel it into position. The damn thing weighs 12 pounds, 12 ounces full up. And that's with this huge scope he chose. I know PFI's laugh and watch this video, but dude, seriously, a Bushnell Elite Tactical 32 ounce glass is what he put on this. Now, don't get me wrong, the scope is amazing. It really is. But so are a lot of other 30-ounce plus scopes. US Optics, Night Force. I mean, if you throw weight out the window, I mean, there's more truth for you. There's all types of amazing scopes. The trick is on a scope is to get it, amazing optics, eye relief, field of view, all the stuff we talk about at a decent weight. Can you say Leopold? Because they're one of the few companies that consistently get it right, and so does Burris. This scope gets it right. I think this one is only like 19 ounces. Huge. Huge. That being said, that huge scope he has on there, which I think is 1,000 plus. He's got some complex reticle in it, which is really cool. It's like a ranging reticle. 32 ounces, plus a LaRue mount, steel base, I think, 12 pounds, 2 ounces. Sorry if I laugh. I'm laughing because a gun naked is reasonable, especially for a 24-inch barrel. It's only 9 pounds. I didn't weigh it, but that's factory weight. It's heavy, the way it's set up. Now, if you were to pick a lighter weight scope for another philosophy of use, you could probably bring the weight of this one very close to that one, probably around 11 pounds. Then I'd be a lot more excited. And that's including what is basically a 9-ounce steel magazine, which you have to give some allowance for in this system, right? Because you want a reliable magazine system. You want it to be durable. You can't get it for nothing. It's generally going to add weight. Now, that being said, both of these guns, once you get them into position, I think I mentioned this already, I'm really going to hammer it home, feel so good shooting. They're smooth. They recoil very little in this, what I think is a pretty lightweight long-range cartridge, the 308 or 7.62 by 51. Again, pussycats. Especially this one. You can shoot it all day. You know, feel is excellent. Which will take us to innovation design, features review, and wish me luck because I'm going to pick up the artillery piece first. I don't know how long I can hang on to it because my upper body's so bad. I'm going to start with a recoil pad. It's both the same on both guns. I forget what they call this. It's Savage's edition. A company makes it, but they say it takes out 45% of the recoil. I buy it. It does. It's very compressible. It's not a solid rubber pad like you see on a lot of rifles. It is excellent. And again, Savage isn't the only one doing this. There's some great pads being put on all types of factory production rifles. One thing you want to do is coat this. I don't think either of us have done this, in electrical tape, black electrical tape, or tan in this case, so it doesn't grab your clothing. Getting in position, this is very sticky rubber. So it's good to leave this portion rubbery, like I've said a dozen times, not so much this one. So great recoil pad. How about the stock? Both of these feature what Savage calls the Accu stock, of which I am a fan through my years of shooting it. So these are polymer stocks. They're not fiberglass. They're not Kevlar. They're just polymer, but inside them is a rigid rail system that runs all the way from here, the receiver portion, all the way up to the barrel. So it's not really pillar bedded, where we just use our action screws to pull down that action, which does work. We see that in a 700. Shoots very well. But this is pretty much bedded the entire length of the stock. So it locks it in vertically and horizontally. It's pressure consistent, and it just creates a really nice union between the action and the barrel. And yes, both barrels, or actually all in the 10 series, are free floated, at least FCP series. So I dig it. I think, and this is, by the way, is a generation 1 Accu stock. They've changed it. I'm talking the internals, and they'll change as years go by, but the concept is the same. It's a very consistent way to lock the action in. And Savage is the one that came up with that. I think some other companies copy them, as in other things like the trigger. But looking at the ergonomics of the stock, you can see a flattened forend, 2 slings, swivels or studs there, one for the bipod, one for your sling if you so want. This is a gun you're going to rest, either again on a bipod or your sandbags. You're not going to, I don't know, stand up and shoot it freeform. If you are, you're more of a man than I am, assuming you can hit with it. Not a raised cheek piece here. I kind of wished it did have that. I'm talking like a rollover cheek piece. There are some variations of the 10 series, which again will have all types of different editions. I saw one years ago that had like a raisable cheek piece on it. I don't know if they're still making that one. If that's important to you, you can look it up. Some imprinted checkering, or cat molded in checkering here on the pretty much full pistol grip. By the way, I don't mind the outline of a standard stock. I've said that in some other reviews. I don't feel like I have to have a full pistol grip to shoot a gun accurately. Now, I'll take it. It's cool, but I don't need it to shoot a gun accurately. Not me personally. So this standard configuration is fine. I love the coloration on the FCP-SR. Subject to change. That's tan digital. If the metal was coated the same way, this gun would disappear in our field of operations. Literally, it's almost effective as that multi-cam dense pattern that I've put on some of my rifles with Duracoat pattern. So very cool looking, and that precision carbine one has an ACU digital camouflage pattern on its stock. This one is just plain black. It's wearing, you know, rub marks, all that from in-field use here in the Nutnfancy project during testing phase. But basically it's the same stock. AccuBlock in it, which will take us, I guess, to the trigger. The AccuTrigger is just amazing. I've always said that with my in-field videos I was showing you guys. I've always been a big fan. It is adjustable, I think, from 1.5 pounds all the way up to 6 pounds. They do include a little adjustment tool with it. And other companies have copied it, at least in function. Witness Ruger, right? I talked about that in the Ruger American review. So let's put this on the trigger scale. I think I have this gun adjusted just under 3 pounds. There we go. 2 pounds, 14 ounces. That is perfect for a tactical bolt action rifle, I say. Ideal. And like I said, this one's pulling about the same, just under 3 pounds. If you don't like it, lighten it up. I wouldn't recommend lightening it too much more than that, because that's just ideal. Long range shooting we did with both of these rifles, the trigger was a huge benefit for being able to connect with that long distance steel that we're shooting at. Not that you can't do it with other triggers. We've done it with other models, but that trigger is amazing. Love the AccuTrigger. And look at this. The bolt knob on the Savage rifles needs no modification whatsoever. Are you listening, Remington? It's a MIM'd bolt knob, right? So it's just injection molded. No big deal. Works great. It lasts a long time. No scope clearance issues, you can see. And it's extended just perfectly. Nice round configuration, just perfect. So is the safety. I've always loved Tang mounted safeties. I like the Remingtons, which is right here. The Savages is right there. Serrated, easy to access. Perfection. Now the bolt, and there's a couple things I want to show you here, and we'll talk about field strip and maintenance as well while we're here. Pull the trigger, press the takedown lever firmly, bring that bolt out, and now we see it. This is actually a floating bolt head that Savage uses on its tactical bolt action rifles, heck, on all theirs, I think. The purpose of which is to get consistent lug lockup in the receiver. So as the variances, it heats up during shooting, these will engage consistently into the receiver. And when we're talking about maximum accuracy, it's pretty much about consistency, right? There's your ejector. There's your extractor, and I think it's a better extractor than the Remington 700, which is a stamped steel extractor. I've talked about that a lot. The ejection was positive. It is not a fixed ejector, aka Mauser, so you can't really vary where it throws, but it works good. I haven't seen any huge issues with it. Speaking of which, since this has been in the project for basically 4 years, I might forget some stuff, and as I dig into the hard drive storage of my testing, I'll say, oh yeah, I forgot about that. If that's the case, I'll just roll in the footage and annotate the lesson learned on that particular outing. This gun had a lot of outings in TMP. I don't know why it's taking me forever to put this review together. It's actually embarrassing. Whatever, better late than never. And that is their barrel nut. The way that Savage achieves very consistent head spacing, another critical component of an accurate bolt action rifle. And Savage will go in to talk about how custom manufacturers will do this, and then how they do it, achieving that consistent head spacing. Basically, they're going to close a bolt on each individual rifle produced, put a headspace gauge in there, put the barrel in, push it all the way against that headspace gauge until it stops. Then they know they're right where they need to be, and they tighten the barrel nut, and they fix it into position. I've never seen any problems with these barrel nuts, and to me, aesthetically, I just don't care. You know, some guys look at it, oh, I don't like that. It's not tapered. It doesn't look so smooth and special. It's a piece of, machinery for me. A tactical bolt action gun. You know, it's a tool of the trade, so I don't really care what it looks like. If you're talking about a hunting gun, you know, the classic wood, walnut, blued steel, to me that's a different philosophy of use. Not a tactical bolt action gun. which will bring us to the barrel. Again, look at how thick this barrel is. At the muzzle, this sucker measures 0.85 inches in diameter. Yes, to me, that's just a little bit too thick. That's what she said. I get it. It's a thick barrel, and that's where the weight of this gun is coming into play. It's a high-quality barrel. It's button-rifled. All the Savage 10 series rifles are button-rifled, so it has a very consistent bore, especially for the money, is amazing. The beauty of if you get an unthreaded version of a 10 and you want to cut it down, you have a thick barrel like this, you've got a lot of diameter which you can do that with. For instance, this one, I think I'm going to have it cut down 2 inches off to about a 20-inch tube. Then I'll put 5/8 by 24 threading on it and throw on that Gemtech HVT on that sucker. Then off to the races, dude. Yeah. Then we'll see what's up. So, great barrel. Let's look at this other one, though, the FCP-SR. Again, this is an artillery piece. This one is fluted, which will save a few ounces, perhaps. I do like fluting when I can get it, especially in a factory barrel. And this, again, is a 24-inch barrel. This is a 22-inch barrel, that one. And then look at this freaking muzzle brake. Oh, my gosh. Hey, wait a minute. I've seen that muzzle brake somewhere before. It looks very, very familiar. I just can't place it. Maybe I saw it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's where I saw it. A freaking Tiger tank. This is one of our Tiger tank collectibles, dude. It totally reminds me of an 88mm muzzle brake on a Tiger. It's a freaking cool model, isn't it? 1/50th scale. Look at that sucker snow camo. Oh, wait, back to the review. Yeah, so I don't know if I really dig that. It's heavy. This is really heavy. It's effective. It's very loud off to the side. It does kick up some dust in the prone position. Me, I'd peel it off and put a can on it. Even though it's a really long overall package with that 24-inch barrel. You might be able to cut it down, you know, just to there before you run into the fluting. Is it really worth the money? No. Not to pay a gunsmith to do it. I wouldn't do it. But you have it. Some guys dig it. A lot of guys will like the looks of the muzzle brake. They just think, oh, it looks so cool. But remember, this is only a 308. You know, if it's a 338 Lapua, I'd put up with this. Do I really need a muzzle brake for a 12-pound 308? Negative. I do not. Let's see. Features review. Oh, yeah. This one has a 20 MOA. I think that rail is actually factory. I may have misspoke. So that's 20 MOA built into that sucker. It comes with the gun, if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'll annotate it. Now for this one, the 10 FC, not 10 FCP, but 10 FP that I have, did not come with a rail. Savage needs its own bases, as you guys know, because it has a rounded receiver. They no longer, for a long time, fit the same bases that 700s do. I put a two-piece, I think it's a Night Force. Honestly, I don't remember what brand it is, but it has some MOA built into it, if I'm not mistaken. I could be. And then those are some aluminum TPS ultra low rings, which I've talked about and recommended here in TMP for a long time. They're amazing. And that's a 30mm scope tube. And look at how that's mounted. Does clearance get any better? You guys know I'm really big on mounting the glass as low to the bore as I possibly can. It took me a lot of effort to find the right combination with this gun. I'm really happy with the results. I don't need a raised cheek piece that way. And I have enough elevation for the long range shot, especially with a 30mm tube. This one, by the way, this scope is excellent. I don't know if they make this particular one. Burst seems to have gone to mil radians. This one is in MOA. This is the full field 30. I love it. It's just a great scope. Lightweight, light gathering. Again, watch my series, Operation Red Skies. You'll see us shooting unassisted at night through Burris glass, and Leopold for that matter, and we're talking about our perceptions as we go. All right, so there you go. Accuracy. Oh, isn't this the heart of the review? By way of remembrance, here's the FNTSR Tactical Sport Rifle, 168 Ultra Max, just a 180 grain fusion shot into a group. Atomic .85 gold metal match shot into 1 inch out of the FNTSR. Now, why do I bring that up? Because just because I'm raving currently about the Savage, I don't want people to misinterpret that my other reviews no longer play. That's why. Those were amazing guns. All the ones I've reviewed are amazing. Getting to the truth as best as I can. So let's go back in time, and I mean in the time machine back to 2011. This is me off the bench with PMC, very unimpressive. PMC was just not shooting well out of this rifle. That's the top gun there. However, XM762 supplanted and replaced by not so impressive XM80, I think it's called. That 762 shot so consistently. That's 3 freaking rounds. That's military ball, guys. Out of that gun. Another one. 3 rounds. That's sub MOA. I think I wet my pants. I was so excited on that one. I just urinated myself a little bit. There's PMC. I dried out after that. Now, I always talk about how a bolt gun shoots ball because, again, if we talk about tactical elitism, they will tell you that, dude, what are you shooting ball out of your freaking 308? You should be shooting gold medal match or 178 grain Lake City or 175s. Yeah, if you can afford it. You know, one of my biggest expenditures here in the Nutnfancy project is ammo. And that's going to have to change with freaking ad revenue dropping off the face of the cliff recently. That sucks. Yeah, so most of us in a pinch, if we put it in a tactical philosophy of use, dude, we're going to be shooting ball. Face it. I mean, talk to a guy who says, oh yeah, man, you need to shoot a gold medal match. I'm like, well, how many rounds of that do you have stored up? Well, I reload. How many do you have loaded? 50? Okay, say no more. Okay, that's a 10 FP on the top. This is August 12. Not too great of a group. There's a 700 AAC, 700 SPS by way of reference, and there's a 10 FP shooting PMC. Not great. About 2-inch group. It's not that big. Probably about an 1.5 inches. But that was with that ammo. Now we're talking. That's that gold medal match load. That's the top rifle right here, of which we shot it a lot. That's September 2011. Oh my gosh, long time ago. 1 MOA group right there. Man, I love gold medal match. 0.8, 1.45. That might have been me. Horizontal dispersion here, 1.75 MOA. Now, a lot of guys will shoot into one hole with these very guns on the table, but it's going to be a lot of work and you'll need some special loads. You might be able to do it with hand loads. It's going to be a project for you. I think you're generally going to achieve around 1 MOA out of your Savages. With decent ammo, with really good ammo, easily sub MOA. So this is October 2013. PFI dude myself. That's my group with American Eagle, just for the heck of it.
Disappointing.
PFI dude with Atomic. Nice job.
Was it?
Although Atomic can do better, and I knew it could. I'll show you a target here in a second. I was like, Atomic should be shooting into a group, a cloverleaf. So maybe it was him shooting. I was making fun of him. I was like, come on, dude, bring it together. That's his group with Atomic. We're like, you suck ass, dude. Yeah, we bust on each other out there. And then that's a 3-round group. PFI dude, Berkeley Strong. MagTech really did not do so well. And then I got behind the trigger. I was like, I got to bring something more impressive to the table. Please help me. There we go. Atomic. So I shot right after that, and that's a group. And I said 10 FCP. It's actually the FCP-SR. Like I said, I get confused. Great group. I'm really stoked with that. Again, if you want to shoot into one hole, it's going to take some work. A lot of work and some very careful shooting. I have no doubt the guns can do it. Getting back to the intro, why do you need a $5,000 gun? Isn't that what this is all about, is putting holes where you need the holes at long range. With these guns, I feel easily, like I said in the Remington 700 review, $700 for 700 yards. Funny how people have taken that title and used it in other ways. But I said with that gun, you could do it. With these guns, same thing. Easily out to 700 yards with a 308. Maybe beyond. But from what I see out there, guys shooting beyond 700 yards, they have a lot of trouble with doing that in the field. A lot, including myself. It's not easy. Don't kid yourself. You got to have everything just right. How about firepower? That was accuracy. 10 rounds is what attracts me to this one. Okay, and let's check this magazine out. It's made by a company, which I guess is an OE company, Accurate Mag. This is a quality magazine, and I think it's used by several other manufacturers and or aftermarket dudes. I don't really know. And it's basically a single stack. That's why it's so long, but it's reliable and it's tough. In our shooting, we didn't see any bobbles that I can remember out of this gun. That says something for a magazine system, because sometimes bolt action magazines aren't so great, especially internal magazines. Not that that one had any problem. It's actually just tough to load, but it was reliable. But I've seen some issues with the Remingtons. If you don't load them and chamber them just right, you're going to have a hiccup. You're going to have a jam. Let's look at the bottom metal too, which by the way is steel. I forgot to mention that in both guns. I think Accurate Mag makes this bottom metal here. Do I need steel bottom metal like I've said before? Nope. I'd be happy with polymer, but it's there. It's tough. Nice big paddle release on that magazine, on the FCP-SR. Very, very cool. Now, if they could just put this magazine on their precision carbine with the 20-inch barrel threaded, that would be a combo to look for. It is heavy, however. There are lighter weight and just as reliable magazine options, of which I've shown you here in TMP you might want to consider. This one has a 4-round magazine. Internal, there is no releasable floor plate in it. By the way, this sling is just a Walmart special and it works great. I like it. You can see that loading it is not super fast. It takes some practice and technique, none of which I possess in huge quantities because I test so many different platforms. But it's doable. Make sure you push those cartridges all the way to the rear. Make sure you take that bolt all the way to the rear when you're operating your tactical bolt action rifle for maximum reliability. By the way, I love the tactical mat on all these guns. Very cool. You know, it's just nice. And the bolt is very smooth. Speaking of ergonomics, forgot to mention that. Just as smooth, I think, as a Remington. Except for one thing, I'm glad I remember this, is you will have, and we noticed this when we shot this gun. Check this. Pull it. You'll have more force on the bolt lift up right here. It's like cock on opening, and it's substantial, really. I'd almost like cock on closing. I could be wrong on that, but you do notice it in the Savage rifles. It is slightly annoying. There's more of that true thing. Okay, so firepower. Detachable mag versions of the 10 series will have, I think, 4 rounds as well. Actually, they could be 5. Sorry if I'm wrong on that. And again, chamberings are 223, 308, 300 Win Mag. On we go to reliability and durability. One thing I found out in 2010 shooting this gun is be careful of not side loading the Accu trigger. And I don't know if I can replicate it here on the table, but you may have noticed while I was shooting in that video that the gun wouldn't fire. It's like the trigger locked up. See, there it is right there. I just replicated it. That's Accu trigger lockup. So if it senses a side load force, you're done. Now it's easy enough, and it was confusing me at first because I'd never experienced this. It's easy enough to correct. All you'll do is just recock the bolt like that, and it resets the trigger. You can fire. But when it first happened to me, I wasn't aware of it. And I was like, "What's going on?" And I found out later the Accu trigger has a side load lockout, so be careful of that. I already talked about cycling the bolt. What you got to be careful of. Single feed, that is single feed column in the steel magazine was reliable, as was that magazine, as far as I can remember. I would say reliability and durability, like I said, if you're considering it as a team rifle, outstanding. Field strip we covered already. How about accessories?
What's that?
What else do you need for these guns? I mean, honestly, especially this one. Maybe some extra magazines, which I think are going to run you about $60 to $70, which is pricey. But you can get them. I think Brownells carries them. I don't know what else these guns need. I wouldn't replace the trigger. I love the Accu trigger. On these models, I would not replace a stock. I love the stocks. I did have to replace a stock, or didn't have to, but I elected to replace it on the 700, right? With that SPS stock, which is not bedded like this one. It's a polymer stock, and it shot a lot better. I wouldn't replace these, though. Barrels, I'm not going to do anything with. I don't need an extended bolt knob on them. I'm not going to replace the butt pad on them. They're fine. You know, you're going to have to get a base of some sort. If you get this model, it's included. If not, you're going to have to go hunting. I might cut the barrel off and thread it if I get a non-threaded version, or if I find an older one for sale. That's about it. Sling. Of course, you will need a bipod. And I still recommend and use, by the way, the UTG bipods. Reviewed here in 2009. This one has a ton of use on it. Great bipods for cheap. Go to PFI's web store and buy them for cheap. They're like less than 20 bucks, I think. Watch me be wrong. They're like 25 now. Harris bipod. I coated both these. That's about all you need, man, accessories wise. Other than maybe getting ammunition that shoots accurately out of them to your satisfaction. Again, if you want one whole group, it's just going to take some work. How about value? Well, this is hard to say because it's always changing. It's a moving target. This one at the time I got for $550. This one. Yeah, that was a great deal, but that was way back in 2009. The FCP-SR camo, this one retail for $1,250. You might get around for $1,000, $1,100, I'm not sure. You know, upper right, you can go check, and that the seller could have some. It's been a hard gun to find. I don't know if it's been selling well. Savage just hasn't made a lot of them. Don't know. The precision carbine, that one I was talking about, I love that one. That one's $925 MSRP. That's an 8-pound 308 20-inch barrel threaded. That's recommended. That's basically this gun, a shorter version of this gun. The 10BA, that gaudy looking aluminum stock, I just don't like it. 13.5 pounds, maybe that's why. That's $2,300 MSRP. When you go to those aluminum stocked Savages, they're going to be way expensive. Not recommended. Yeah. That's about it, though. Value is worth it. It's going to be on par with the Remington 700.
Cool.
Some other great rifles out there. It's just one of many. I do prefer, again, a sapper in a 308 chambering. I do prefer controlled round feeding when I can get it. Witness the FNTSR. Now, if the FNTSR had this magazine, oh man, and they offered it in a 20-inch barrel, hands down the winner. By the way, the barrels here have a 1 in 10 twist in 308. I forgot to mention that. 1 in 9 and 223 if that's impressive to you. I think it should probably be a 1 in 7 and 223 because you'll be spinning some heavier bullets down there. It's just me though.
Energy to it.
Love the guns. Love the guns. They are not tactical elitist favorites. They're not, because I don't know. Maybe they just don't turn a lot of guys on. They're like, it's not cool enough. It's a Savage. Well, to me, I get most excited about high value gear that performs like this.
Sweet.
That's reliable. That has an outstanding trigger. The best factory trigger that any rifle's putting in is the Accu trigger. And you got to give kudos to Savage. They're the ones that came up with it. Everyone's copying them now, but they innovated it. You know, why? Why do I have to go spend even $2,000 on a standard chambering? Now, if I go to 338 Lapua, like I said, then it's more understandable. These are highly recommended Hall of Fame bolt-action rifles for serious social purposes and recreation or competition if that's what suits you. Nutnfancy with some more truth, as best as I can deliver it to you. Thanks for the support. I totally need it. See ya. $28.92.
It's probably a little bit less loud if I get my ears on.
Ouch! You shot that with no plugs.
I was like, why is this so loud?
Suck it.
Nice group.
That's it.
Jared did. I couldn't fix it back.
Alright. I'm good. Might be a little bit up and to the right. good.
I don't know, dude. So you just did MRAD corrections,
Yep.
and it said 10.
10 clicks.
Okay.
So I was aiming dead center.
Right on. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, the scope seems better now.
Yeah, when you get up into it.
I think we could probably lower this a little bit. The nice thing about lowering it, because then you can put your fist behind it, you know?
Yeah.
Your fist behind the stock. Okay, shooter's coming on.
Okay. Let me know when you're on it.
Filming. Shooter's ready.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that stickiness at the very top.
Yeah, right at the top. Hit. Hit. Nice. Got it. Hit. That one went right under it, it looks like.
That was to the right.
Oh, was it? Okay. There it is.
I love the magazine capacity on this.
I know, me too.
Pretty freaking awesome.
Hit. Got one more. Hit.
I like it. It's a good gun.